This is podcast 1102 Central. I have with me Allie, whose research is on body image, and Josh, whose research is on social media. I'm one of your hosts, Denmark, and the other one's Raquel, and now these two are going to tell us a little bit about their own topics. You may begin.
So my topic is on body image and basically just how social media is one of the main contributors to body image, especially with how society is being shaped today with technology, and just how we're constantly on social media and seeing all these bodies, and then that results in like insecurities and just body image issues.
All right, Josh, you can go.
Mine ties into that pretty well. My central focus was how the social media is impacting society and how each of those players utilize social media for their own message, such as news media, politicians, et cetera, and those impacts on individuals.
So what's some interesting things you guys have found in your research?
Well, body image is such a sensitive subject, and I found it being a really negative outlook to the way people view themselves internally and then also on others around them. Social media is really a big blame when it comes to body image because, we go online and we see all these celebrities that we are supposedly supposed to look up to, and then we end up comparing ourselves to them. So I just found a lot of basically different viewpoints within people and how they have their outlook on body image and their perspectives and opinions on it.
Probably one of the biggest things that I've learned in my research is, I previously thought that echo chambers were the cause of extremism, but based on a lot of my research, that is not the case. It's actually being introduced to facts that shake your core beliefs, and so it's pretty amazing, and it's pretty explanatory whenever it comes to social media, and it's only 15 years old, and so we don't really know the full impact as of yet.
Well, how does social media play any significant roles in your research topics, and why is that, if it does?
Yeah, like I said, I definitely think so. Social media is honestly, I think, the biggest blame. Of course, there are a bunch of other little contributions that play a role, but I myself and others around me are constantly checking their phones and using them every single minute. You look up and look around you and try to find someone not on their cell phone, and like I said before, we just see all these social media influencers that we end up comparing ourselves to, and then we revolve around the stigma of this body image, and then that just results in depression, anxiety, and other psychological issues.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to reiterate what you were just saying, Allie, Facebook has something along the lines of 500,000 posts and 350,000 images, and even more interactions in every 6 seconds. So, a lot of people are using Facebook. A lot of people are constantly using Facebook, and it really just, like you're alluding to, it feeds into the anxiety and depression and loneliness and everything else that we're missing as a species when it comes to face-to-face interactions. It's almost taking over that face-to-face interactions, even when you're, like you example, at dinner and things like that. Everybody's on their phone and they're not talking to one another, and it's really worrisome.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So clearly there are some serious issues surrounding body image and social media. What can we do to fix these issues?
Well, I definitely don't think there would be something to completely remove this issue because, everyone is affected by it. It's not just a small percentage of a population. It's honestly everyone around this globe, you know? Whether we like it or not, or want to admit it, we all have our insecurities that we struggle with. We may not be as open with them, but we all have them, and I'm pretty certain that most of our insecurities have something to do with our body image and just the way that we look. We always find something to kind of tear each other down with, ourselves and others. So, I mean, there has been body positivity movements, but that's just one side of the people who are trying to resolve this issue, because there will always be that other population that just completely goes against body positivity. For example, in my research, there was this article by this writer, Christopher Freind, and he completely contradicts the body positivity movement and says that we need to start telling people that they are obese, that they need to lose weight. So, like I said, it's just there's a lot of different viewpoints, and unfortunately we can't change how people think and see issues, especially with such a sensitive one like this.
Right, and from my perspective, as far as attributing to extremism and polarizing the U.S. politics, I truly think it's up to the individual to get educated. Just on how everyone is utilizing social media to garner for support, I guess you could say. To try to impose legislation or to have each individual social media company implement their own version of what's considered, hate speech or echo chambers or things like that, it kind of becomes a infringement on your First Amendment rights of freedom of speech. Just simply because there is no clear definition of what hate speech could be considered. And then whenever someone is actually sitting down to determine what that is, what kind of bias will come into it, what kind of thought process will come into that same that reasoning. To be completely honest, it's really just up to the individual. Just lessening their exposure to 30 minutes a day on any social media site has real impact on your mental state, decreasing anxiety, decreasing your loneliness, making you find something else outside of from behind the screen to go do. So really it's just up to the individual.
Yeah, going off a little bit of what you were saying, during my research, I found that a lot of it has to deal with the individual and kind of people's decision making. You can choose whether or not you want to find more positivity, and whether that's through social media or within yourself. It's everyone plays a role, and they have to play their role. So I definitely agree with where you're coming from.
Absolutely.
All right, well, I'm sure you both have more to say, but we're either approaching our time limit or already there. So thank you, Josh and Allie, for discussing your topics, and hope we see you again soon.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
This has been podcast 1102 Central.